what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Ringside Rundown podcast. My name is Erik Vasquez, and joining me on the line is my podcasting partner in crime. Yes, that rhymes. Coming straight from the Berg, she is none other than Shay Hickson. What's going on, Shay? How was your week?
I can't really complain too much. I mean, granted, technically it's only Tuesday, but we haven't jumped off the bridge yet. So you know what? We'll take that as a win. But I can't complain too much.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Football season's about to start. I know you're excited to see Aaron Rodgers take your team as far as he can go.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I don't really. I can't gauge it because he wasn't even doing anything in preseason, so I'm like, I can't even gauge if it's going to be good or not.
Yeah, I'm trying to poke the bear. It didn't work.
Yeah, it could have been worse, but I don't know. Maybe he'll actually do something, but we'll see.
We'll see. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a professional wrestling podcast where Shay and I discuss the happenings of everything that is going on in the world of professional wrestling, whether it's WWE, AEW, New Japan, Ring of Honor, TNA, whatever you have it. If it has something to do with pro wrestling, we're going to talk about it on this show. And this episode in particular is a really good episode because we're going to have our thoughts and match ratings for AEW Forbidden Door, which happened this past Sunday. And actually, this coming Sunday is WWE's Clash in Paris. So we're also going to be giving our predictions for that. So we got a pretty big show. Might as well get through it. Might as well start it before we're here to the end of night till midnight or something. And we don't want that.
Nah, neither of us want that, so let's get into it.
All right, now we were talking about Forbidden Door. It happened this past Sunday in London at the O2 Arena. It ended up being the largest pro wrestling event in the O2 Arena, breaking a record. They had, I believe, 18,992 individuals in that building, 8 shy of an even 19,000 people. Pretty big deal for Forbidden Door this past Sunday.
Yeah, and I bet that pissed WWE off a little bit that they have that record now, because as much as they'd like to not admit that they're not threatened by AEW, but clearly they're at least they acknowledge them because of all the counter programming they do, even though they're not a big deal to us. So I'm sure whether they want to admit it or not, they're probably pretty pissed about that.
Yeah, definitely something that they don't like the spotlight being taken off of them. They don't like any of their records being broken. So you know that next time they show up in the O2 Arena is probably going to be for a big deal.
Yeah, and I won't hesitate either. Watch, like, in a couple months there'll be something there, or there'll be like a pay-per-view or something, and it's not that it's not on coincidence, it's accidentally on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Good old WWE and their counter programming. I gotta say, before we get into this pay-per-view, this felt a little bit different than most AEW pay-per-views. It didn't feel like a long, drawn-out trek to get to the end. It was the right amount of matches. It didn't have as many matches as it usually does, a tick less than usual. But again, this felt like the pacing was just right for an AEW pay-per-view. It didn't feel off, or it didn't feel like it was going to be a trek to get through.
Which apparently is not the general consensus, because I guess people there were on Twitter talking about how long it felt, which, granted, I mean, it's different if you didn't watch like 0 Hour, or if you were, that's a little different. But, I mean, you kind of just get used to the fact that AEW pay-per-views are going to be a little bit longer. Can they be a little exhausting? Absolutely. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good pay-per-view. There wasn't really anything that I can think of that stuck out in my mind as like horrendously offensively bad. Everything was pretty solid. So overall, despite it just being long, at least for me, but I also have a very short attention span sometimes. So despite that, I enjoyed it. I had a really good time watching it.
Yeah, I actually thought it was a really solid pay-per-view overall. I thought they did a really good job of focusing on the matches. Every match delivered something different. It was kind of like a buffet of professional wrestling. And I thought it was a solid event altogether. a real good pay-per-view and a real good showing from AEW. Might as well get right into it, and let's talk about the matches. Now we're going to go over the matches and give our flame ratings, which is reminiscent to Dave Meltzer's star ratings, but we like to be a little bit more modern and updated, so we use flame emojis, ladies and gentlemen. So out of 5 flame emojis, we're going to be grading each match on the Forbidden Door card. And starting it off, it was a tag team match between Adam Copeland and Christian Cage, reuniting for the first time in over a decade to team up to take on Kip Sabian and Killswitch, who was filling in for the injured Nick Wayne. Now, this announcement came on Saturday that Nick Wayne actually broke his foot and was unable to compete in the match. This kind of threw off our predictions because I figured if Killswitch was going to get into it, then I probably would have picked Christian Cage and Adam Copeland to get the win. But that happened. Like I said, that was announced, and it is what it is. It was a solid opener and a solid match. I'm just confused as why everyone keeps bullying Killswitch, but I'm glad he stood up for himself this time. Kip got busted open over his eyes somehow towards the end of the match. Copeland and Cage get the win with an assisted pop-up spear, a thing of beauty I thought it was, and I gave this match 3.5 flames out of 5. What'd you think of the match?
Yeah, I agree. It was a very solid opener. Yeah, that whole change to the match, I remember watching that going, fuck. I'm like, well, there goes our prediction because that changes some things. In hindsight, were we probably going to be wrong regardless? Probably, but we were trying to be bold. But it is what it is. But yeah, it was definitely solid. Nothing really, not too much to write home about, but not terrible either. I mean, Copeland's entrance with that entire arena singing his song was insane, like wild. You would have thought they were at a concert, but
very loud,
that's
very
probably
loud.
the loudest. Yeah, probably the loudest rendition we've heard of it yet. But yeah, it was interesting seeing the crowd slowly start to warm up to Christian, even though he was still, being an asshole. And he's just like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with Killswitch, which if you pay attention to the story, it makes perfect sense. I get why he'd be a little hesitant to get in the ring with him. But yeah, overall, pretty good. I also gave it 3.5 because, solid opener, got the crowd going, and that's always what you want in a pay-per-view for the opener.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I just hope that they don't go into another situation where Killswitch is getting bullied, because we already seen that with when he was aligned with Christian Cage. And to go over that again with Kip Sabian doesn't have the same sort of name and weight that Christian Cage does, so I wouldn't be buying into Killswitch getting bullied by Kip Sabian is what they tried to do in the match. But again, like you said, it was a solid opener, and we both give it 3.5 flames. All right, so moving on, for the TNT Championship, we had TNT champion Kyle Fletcher defending the title against New Japan's Hiromu Takahashi. I thought this was a great match, and it was a great call on commentary. They, for people that are not familiar with Hiromu Takahashi, they compared him to Darby Allin, which I thought was a great call. Similar vibe, similar sort of moveset and frenetic pace that they like to work. They like to work that really fast 0 to 60 miles per hour kind of pacing in a match, and I thought that was a great call on commentary. This one was a good match. I don't know if it was pay-per-view worthy, as sort of is the problem with AEW. Sometimes they like to fill up their pay-per-views with matches that are more suited to be on TV, but this one was pretty good. I also gave it a 3.5 out of 5 flames. Kyle Fletcher gets the win and retains the TNT title, hitting a sheer drop brainbuster kind of out of nowhere. There wasn't any sort of dramatic build up to that finish. It just kind of happened and it was over and done with.
Yeah, I think the problem was, I mean, it was a great match. I also gave it 3.5, but I think the issue is that they spent way too much time, focusing on Takahashi and not so much Fletcher, because I think everyone knew, I mean, obviously Kyle wasn't losing the match. That was already a given. So I guess they probably were like, well, if he's not going to lose, which why would we have him lose literally in his first title defense? We'll just give as much spotlight to Takahashi as we can, which is good. Except you kind of have to also remember your champions in that match too, so I feel like it was very one-sided at times, but But yeah, it was still pretty good. I wish it was a little more even especially for it being a title match, but maybe that was just me. But yeah, I did also give it 3.5 because they were great. Both of them were really good. I'd love to see more Takahashi at some point.
Yeah,
If they
definitely.
bring him back somehow, but especially like if they do him and Darby, since they brought it up, I would love to see that, to see who dies first. So.
That would actually be a lot of fun. That would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, you wouldn't even have to put a stipulation on that. Just be like, you two just go like beat each other within an inch of your life, and we'll see who survives.
Yeah, definitely. Anytime you put Darby in that situation, he seems to thrive the most.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, so again, we both give it 3.5 flames out of 5. Solid match with Kyle Fletcher retaining the TNT Championship over New Japan's Hiromu Takahashi. Moving on, we have a 4-way match for the TBS Championship, which is Mercedes Moné's one of her infinite titles. I think she won another title over the weekend, as if she doesn't have enough titles already. She's defending the TBS Championship in a 4-way match against different people from different companies. Alex Windsor, a part of AEW now, just getting there, Persephone from CMLL, and Bozilla from Stardom. Now, to me, this was the Bozilla show, as her power coming from her 6'1" frame was on full display. I felt like the focus, sort of like what you said about the previous match, with a lot of focus on Takahashi, I felt like this had a lot of focus on Bozilla, because she's definitely something different. She's 6'1", she's full of just straight raw power, and she was definitely putting that on display. Persephone and Windsor had great showings as well. Monet picked her spot well, winning with a well-timed roll-up for the win, which I predicted, by the way, as my tiebreaker.
Well, we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that issue later. We have a problem we need to try and hash out here with that. But
I'm just saying.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I know you're right.
Yeah, she won with the roll up.
I'll give it to you.
And she was smart about it. She picked a really good time to hit that roll up and get that win. It was sort of came out of nowhere, but it was like, it makes sense being in that environment and it being a 4-way with different competitors, all which were great, by the way. I felt like they all got enough time to shine to show what they can do. I thought it was all really well done for a 4-way match that can tend to be a little chaotic when you have that many people in there.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like, as far as the ratings go, I gave it 3.25 flames, just because you could kind of tell the chemistry wasn't all there with everybody, and obviously that's no fault of them, because you're talking about 3 different promotions that you're putting 4 women from 3 different promotions in, so obviously you're not going to have instant chemistry right away, which that's fine. Like I said, it happens when you put these multi-woman matches together. Yeah, and I do agree, they definitely gave Bozilla plenty of time to shine. That moonsault was wild.
Yeah.
that was insane from her. But you could tell the nerves got to her a little bit, which I don't blame her. I'd be doing the exact same things, so no fault there. It just happens. I wanted to see a little bit more of Persephone. I feel like we didn't see her as much as everybody else. Windsor was definitely the crowd favorite for obvious reasons. I think we even said too in the predictions, if Mercedes was going to have to lose at that point. I mean, granted, yes, Windsor's also an AEW, but I feel like she would have been the best option anyway. But yeah, we knew Mercedes wasn't going to lose that title there. Got the roll up, like you said, so I'll give you props on that one. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. Just some clunkiness here and there. Just again, that's just due to the fact you have so many different promotions being, shown in this match. So it wasn't offensive, but it was still a really good match. I still enjoyed it. I gave it 3.25 flames.
Nice. I was a little bit more generous with this match. I gave it 3.75 flames out of 5. I think it was more so, I'm a big fan of when I get to see things for the first time. So I got to see Bozilla for the first time. And not to mention, Bozilla's only been wrestling for 3.5 years. She's still pretty much
21.
Yeah, and she's 21. She was the youngest competitor of the match and probably the least experienced of the match. You know, so for her to have the showing that she did is pretty good. I know she probably put herself on the radar for places like AEW and definitely WWE, because you tend to see that happen sometimes. Somebody comes in for a Forbidden Door, like Stephanie Vaquer, who came in for a Forbidden Door match, and that put her on WWE's radar, and she ended up getting picked up by WWE. I'm not saying that's going to happen with Bozilla, but it tends to be, it tends to be the MO with things. Even though she's only been around for 3.5 years, you know, I'd say within a couple more years, she's definitely going to be a big star here in North America, because she hails from Germany, and she wrestles in Stardom, so she's primarily based in Japan, but eventually we're going to be seeing more of her in the States, I think.
Yeah, honestly, I would love to see her back in AEW for a little bit too, just to see what she can do against people like Megan Bain, Stat, those kind of powerhouses, or hell, even put her against like the smaller like women's wrestlers, because again, we've seen that happen before and it works out real well. So yeah, I was definitely impressed by her for, again, only being 3.5 years is wild, especially when you are only 21. So yeah, despite a few little like nerves here and there, she held her own. Everybody did. Everyone did a great job, and yeah, it's a good match.
For sure, for sure. So solid work from the ladies, and well done. And Mercedes Moné gets to keep one of her infinite titles, retaining the TBS champion. She had the Royal Guard bring out all of her belts individually, which was crazy.
It's not going to end. It's just going to keep going at this rate, I think.
Mercedes. Anyway, moving on. We had a great match, a technical dream match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, with Zack Sabre Jr. defending the title against one of his idols, and Nigel McGuinness. Now, this was a technical dream match. This is a dream match that you know, it's one of those generation versus generation sort of dream matches that you would love to see, and we actually got to see it, and I felt this lived up to the hype of its billing as a technical dream match. The match, of course, ends with Zack Sabre Jr. Winning a roll-up battle. They had a roll-up battle going back and forth, and of course, Zack Sabre Jr., the IWGP champion, gets the better of Nigel McGuinness and picks up the win. I gave that match 3 3/4 flames out of 5. For me, it was just one of those that, like, it was perfectly billed as a technical dream match, and it gave us everything that a technical dream match could give us, and I thought it was very solid.
Yeah, I completely agree. We said in the predictions episode that this was not going to be a match that had high drama. It wasn't going to need an over-dramatic, like, overwritten storyline. It was just put two of the best technical wrestlers in the world in a ring, hit the bell, see what happens, and that's exactly what we got. If you were expecting drama and fanfare and storytelling, you weren't going to get that. This was just a pure wrestling match, and boy, was it fun to watch. It was just, it's a game of chess. It was literally, the metaphor's always right on the, hit the nail right on the head with them, where it was just, who's going to get the better of the other? Who's going to make that one little slip up that's going to cost them this match? And unfortunately, it was Nigel, but I also gave it 3 3/4 flames. It was a little interesting to me. They were kind of hinting at Garcia turning heel, and I thought that was strange. I know the one thing, and this has nothing to do with like the matches or anything, but I feel like, and I'm not sure if you noticed this too, AEW's camera work during the show was a little shoddy sometimes.
Yes, it
because the thing that stuck out to me, there were 2 instances. We haven't gotten to the next one, but the first one was after this match was over, and they had Sabre Jr. talking ringside of Johnny Saint, and everybody lost their mind. I'm sitting there going, why is this a big deal? Because Zack Sabre Jr.'s not doing anything. And then it turns out, Garcia was taking his coat off in the ring, and it's just like, okay, well, that would have been nice to see.
Yeah.
Because that would have made sense, as opposed to the crowd just losing their mind over nothing. And it did end up being nothing, but it was just like, guys, you could have cut the camera a second sooner, and we probably would have known what you were talking about. But yeah, it was a little shaky. There's another instance we'll get to, I think, in a couple matches. But yeah, other than that, I love that match. It was probably one of my favorites of the night. And yeah, I am with you with 3 3/4 flames.
Nice, nice, nice. Afterwards, we have Tony Schiavone, who announces the attendance for the night at 18,992, the largest pro wrestling event in the O2 Arena. We talked about it earlier. Big for AEW. You got to imagine, this is the UK. They love their professional wrestling. They'll show up for anybody.
Oh, yes.
They used to show up for TNA during the Dixie Carter era. So, like, they really love their professional wrestling. They will show up for their professional wrestling. And unlike the contingent in the States, they're not as spoiled as we are, so that's why they're a little bit more vocal. They're a little bit more loud. You see the chants and everybody gets involved, and it's a lot of fun. And again, it didn't matter what the AEW storylines and programming were like, they were going to show up regardless, and they did. 18,992, so congratulations to AEW on a successful night.
Yes, I completely agree.
Then after that, we had a little scuffle continuing on from the 0 hour pre-show where Tekla and Queen Aminata were doing battle all throughout the arena.
Still.
Yeah, they were literally battling from the pre-show till about 2 hours into the main card. It led out to the stage area where the rest of the Triangle of Madness, Julia Hart and Sky Blue, came out to assist Tekla in jumping Queen Aminata, and right when they were about to take her out, a returning Jamie Hayter comes back to save Queen Aminata from a Triangle of Madness beatdown. Big reception for Jamie Hayter, who hopefully is cleared for in-ring action and she can get back in the ring very soon. Good to see Jamie Hayter back.
Yeah, me too. I knew that something was up because, for one, you two have been brawling backstage for 2 hours straight, which, I mean, to be fair, with the way it seems like those two hate each other, that's really not a surprise, but still, seeing them actually do it is something else. So once they started going out to the ramp, I'm like, something's gotta happen. Someone's gotta show up. And so, of course, I selfishly and naively was probably hoping for Dakota Kai, but, you know, it is what it is. But in a perfect world, I was hoping, but that obviously was not the case. But having Jamie back is going to be so much fun. Like you said, hopefully she's definitely cleared, because, I would like to see her against Tekla in the Triangle of Madness. That is going to be fun. And plus, we just need Jamie back.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, it's not the same without her. So it's always a plus when we get her back on the roster.
Yeah, for sure. Any boost to the women's division is definitely welcomed, because they're on the up, and I'm glad that they're utilizing other people like Tekla, and Queen Aminata for sure has been getting seen a lot more. I think Queen Aminata is fantastic, and it's gonna say things for like Alex Windsor again, who's been coming in. She just came into AEW, but she's already making waves, aligning herself with Toni Storm. Hopefully Athena, which we'll talk about later, is going to be a focal point in AEW moving on from Ring of Honor eventually. Again, the women's division is a bright spot for AEW. Hopefully they can continue that brightness, and Jamie Hayter can get back into the fold and get back into the swing of things.
Yeah, I completely agree. We're glad to see Jamie back.
For sure, for sure. Now, moving on in the card, we had a tag team match to determine the AEW Tag Team Champions, with the Hurt Syndicate defending the titles in a three-way match against FTR and Brody King and Bandito. This one felt more suited for me for a TV match rather than on a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
This was the weird thing. Ricochet and the Gates of Agony came out of nowhere in these New Japan tracksuits and disguises, and they attack the Hurt Syndicate, dragging them to the outside, brawling all the way and taking them out, and then revealing themselves. But the reveal of Ricochet and the Gates of Agony kind of fell flat. I didn't feel like it didn't get a big reaction, or like you would assume it would have gotten. It kind of fell flat, and the reason for the Gates of Agony and Ricochet attacking the Hurt Syndicate is a callback to months ago, where Ricochet was trying to get into the Hurt Syndicate, but the Hurt Syndicate was not about it, and they kept basically denying him access to the Hurt Syndicate and taking him out. So this was like a callback to like 8 months, which was kind of
Yeah.
weird. It was kind of weird. But again, the reveal of Ricochet and the Gates of Agony kind of fell flat. And then on top of that, there was a wonky pin at the end where Brodito goes for that monkey flip splash and he lands it awkwardly, goes for the cover, goes to hook the leg. The ref counts 1, 2, and then Bandito drops the leg. So the ref restarts the count. Cash kind of comes in all lazily trying to break it up, but we know it's all for a ploy. And then Bandito and Brody King end up winning the tag team titles. Now, there's been a lot of discussion about the Hurt Syndicate and their unwillingness to lose and who they want to lose to and dropping the titles. This all just felt like a big kerfuffle. It was just a mess towards the end. I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I hated that ending. It was, it's just kind of, it took away from the whole match, which is what you don't want it to do. When like the Gates of Agony and Ricochet were kind of like pushing the Hurt Syndicate back, I'm like, are you guys really just spoiling the fact that we're getting new champs right now? Like, this is kind of silly. I mean, I thought it was very silly, and then that finish was just trash. I don't know what the hell happened there. Clearly some miscommunication somewhere, but yeah, I don't know. It's just, I get the callback and I appreciate the effort of we're gonna make that callback, but you also have to make sure people are invested in the people with the callback. And when most people really don't give a shit about Ricochet, of course we weren't going to remember that. The fact that they had to literally show you the video of the Hurt Syndicate like taking the card away from him 8 months ago, that pretty much tells you that you're kind of just grasping at straws at that point, because nobody cares. Let's just put it this way. Nobody cares. I mean, I guess the only thing you could say is that maybe they were doing that as like a favor to MJF because like the Hurt Syndicate screwed him over too, I guess, but like, we don't care that much. And I mean, obviously good for Brody and Bandito, but we love Brody, but it's just like, God, that could have been so much better. Right. I feel like it was just, it just leaves a sour taste in your mouth a little bit.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't think Tony Khan understands that wrestling fans have a super short attention span. So a callback from 8 months has to be really good. It has to wow us for us to be like, wow, what a callback, but this didn't really do it. What I would have done is probably would have had Ricochet and the Gates of Agony come out on Dynamite on Wednesday and then explain why they did what they did, not through a vignette that you post on social media and them showing a phone and then it's like, oh, okay, that's why they did it. I would rather hear from their mouths, hear their words, and then maybe I'll believe it that way. I just felt like this was kind of a miss. Again, you got to be careful with the attention span of a wrestling fan. You can't have us think we're going to remember something, because I barely can remember last week, and you want me to remember, months ago, and then it's like, oh, okay, that happened. So I don't know about you, but I gave this match 3 1/4 flames out of 5. What about you?
Yeah, I also gave it 3 1/4. I mean, it's just that ending's just gonna like bother me, but good for Brody.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, solid win for Brody King and Bandito. Congratulations to them for being the AEW Tag Team Champions. I'm interested in what's going to happen now with the Hurt Syndicate. If they don't have the titles, what good are they? They pretty much ran roughshod throughout the whole entire tag division. Now they don't have the titles. So what are they going to do? Just keep beating people up for no reason?
I guess. I feel like that's just... I feel like that ending, in a way, just perfectly encapsulates their title reign as a whole, where it never was really believable when you had people challenge them, because it's just like, oh, please, like, you guys are going to challenge them? Okay, sure. And to just literally have it end thanks to a makeshift team of Bandito and Brody King, and not somebody like FTR or a more like well-formed, formidable team. And that's no knock on Brody or Bandito, of course, but it's just, you had other well-established teams in that division that you could have given a chance, or you could have had, I don't know, you just could have had them believably lose those titles and go, yeah, that makes sense, sure. But I guess when you supposedly have champs that don't really want to lose to everybody, and it's you'd rather lose to Bandito and Brody King and not FTR, like what are we doing here, guys? But yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with them now. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens now. Maybe they'll cost MJF another shot at something. Who knows? But
What'd you give the match in terms of your rating?
3 1/4 flames.
3 1/4.
Again, that ending just ruined it for me.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. It's funny how we're pretty much matching on the ratings as well.
Yeah, which is, nothing new.
Definitely.
Normal day at the office with us.
Yeah, pretty much. Moving on, we have Kazuchika Okada defending the AEW Unified Championship against Swerve Strickland. I thought this was a solid match with good storytelling being told around Swerve's knee. Still haven't seen Okada kick it into high gear. I'm afraid we never will. And then after the match, which saw Okada defeat Swerve Strickland with the Rainmaker, after the match, Prince Nana, because there was some confusion, and this was something you and I, meaning we didn't know that even for unified title matches, they're continuing on with the Continental rules where there can be no outside ringside area assistance, meaning Prince Nana couldn't be out there, and Don Callis figured out a way to still be out there and not be involved in the match by being on commentary. So nobody can be in the corner of their respective competitors. That ended when Okada was going to attack Swerve Strickland. Well, he did attack Swerve Strickland with the chair, battering his knee with the chair. Prince Nana comes out with a lead pipe to chase off Okada. And then out of nowhere returns Wardlow. Wardlow, who takes out Prince Nana and beats down Prince Nana. And it looks like Wardlow has joined the Don Callis family, as if the Don Callis family needs another member and another big guy like Wardlow in their camp.
Yeah, I don't really understand that. And it's not like you don't have big, strong guys already in the family, but I guess just have another one, I suppose. But yeah, that whole Continental rules we did not realize was a thing because I honestly thought I had lost my title because my tiebreaker was that the Don Callis family in some way, shape, or form was going to cost Swerve the title. So he loses clean. I'm like, son of a bitch. I lost. Whatever. It is what it is. And then when Okada starts like going after Swerve again and Nana comes out and the announce team's like, oh, well, yeah, now he's finally back because he couldn't be there because of Continental Classic title rules. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? And I'm like, oh, for fuck's sake. We both forgot that since Okada beat Kenny in the unification match, the Continental title rules apply to anything he does now with that title. So I'm like, we both forgot the rules. So my tiebreaker was never going to happen. And if I knew that, I would have done something different. So, yeah, so we don't really know what we're doing with the predictions title right now. But,
collusion.
Hopefully, yeah, because you also forgot that the rules existed too. But yeah, I don't know. It was just and then I loved how I told you the mom's like, oh, I'll just hold on to the title until Clash in Paris. I'm like, yeah, that's next weekend. So what good is that gonna do? But at this rate, we might do that. It might just be winner takes all for Clash in Paris, I guess, because we both don't know what rules are. But the match itself was pretty good. It was definitely back and forth. I feel like we saw Okada step up a little bit, but yeah, again, not to the degree that I would have liked him to. So at this rate, let's just kind of forget the fact that the Rainmaker doesn't exist anymore, just by name only. So so that sucks, but hey, whatever, get that paycheck, I guess, buddy. And then Wardlow coming back, it was just kind of like, sure, why not? I mean, the whole stare down between him and Takeshita was interesting, so I'd like to see where that goes. But just when we think the Don Callis family may eventually die at some point, they just keep adding people, and it's like, I am tired. I'm very tired, but But yeah, the match itself was pretty good. I gave it 3.5 flames. Yeah, couldn't really complain about that one.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. Again, I guess like you said, we're not going to be seeing much of New Japan Okada in AEW. I ended up giving this one 3.25 flames out of 5. Again, I'm just confused as to why Don Callis needs more people in his camp, as if he doesn't have enough people already.
He's just collecting like a deck of cards at this point.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Now, moving on for the AEW Women's Championship, we had Toni Storm defending the title against the ROH Women's Champion, Athena. The only title on the line for this one is the AEW title, so Athena has nothing to worry about. Her 1,000-day reign is still well in hands. She doesn't have to worry about that being in jeopardy, as this one was just for the AEW Women's Championship. This was very physical and a hard-hitting match. Athena held her own and should definitely be a fixture in the women's division for AEW. I think it's time to have Athena move away from Ring of Honor. I don't know how you have that happen with her being the longest reigning defending champion in Ring of Honor, but I think she would be better suited on TV for AEW. However, she doesn't get the win. Toni Storm retains, getting the submission win with the chicken wing. I thought this was a solid wrestling match. I enjoyed the fact that it was very hard-hitting, and I gave this one 3.5 flames out of 5. What about you?
Yeah, I also gave it 3.5, which no shock there. But yeah, these two had some really good chemistry. Yeah, definitely hard hitting. Neither of them held anything back. So good back and forth between the two. I definitely do agree. I feel like I don't know how they're gonna. I mean, because they can't do both at this rate. You're gonna have to pick one or the other. You're gonna have to have Athena on Ring of Honor or on AEW, and I think after a while you're not gonna be able to do both and have her to the best of her abilities. So I don't know. That's a whole conversation for another day. But yeah, this was also a match. I think we talked about it on the predictions episode that either one of them could have like won the title and be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like this was kind of a win-win situation for most wrestling fans. We'll just say most because I'm sure somebody was pissed that Tony won or Tony won. But yeah, if you had Athena win the title, that would have been great. That would have solidified her as a bona fide star, as if we didn't already know that. And Tony would still be Tony. She doesn't need a title. Tony's still going to be great. But now it's also, what are we doing? Because if even Athena can't beat Tony, who can at this point? That's the real question. But the other thing that I kind of alluded to earlier was the one spot when Billy Starks was about to hit Tony with the chair, and then Mina came down to make the save.
Yeah.
You didn't even see Billy with the chair until Mina's ripping it out of her hands. I'm like, guys, what are we fucking doing? Like, this is amateur shit. Like, no one knew what was going on until I saw people, like, standing up at ringside. I'm like, all right, someone's coming down the ramp, and there was Mina, and the next thing you know, she's ripping the chair out of Billy's hands, but the camera missed that because someone fell asleep in the control room, obviously, multiple times this night. But either way, that didn't take away from the match for me. I did give it 3.5 as well, and Tony just keeps going. I don't know who's going to stop her at this point.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing who's her next challenger for the AEW Women's Championship. Hopefully it's a good one. I'm thinking it's going to be a good one. I'm thinking they're going to keep, she's had, all of her reigns have been very, very good title reigns. I think this is her 4th title reign, the most in AEW history for the women's division. And they've all been pretty good, solid title reigns. This one in particular has been very good, very enjoyable. So I'm excited to see what they do next for both Toni Storm and Athena. I want to know what's next for Athena. Is she going to make the transition to AEW programming fully, or is she going to remain in ROH?
I'm hoping AEW. Just get more eyes on her, and you're not going to be able to do that if you keep her in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, for sure. Now, that takes us to the men's world title, where Hangman Page was defending the title against Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. Originally, MJF enacted his contract that he won at the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal, but then somehow finagled his way to get himself the match and not have to use that contract. So there's that. I thought this was a great match, but I'm conflicted because it was nothing outside of what we usually see from MJF. The desperation and the need to cheat this time catches up with MJF as Hangman hits him with the contract that's encased in that steel casing and then hits him with the buckshot lariat and gets the win to retain the AEW Men's Championship. Again, a great match. MJF has great matches. The only thing is they kind of follow the same format. So do you criticize MJF for following the same format, or do you say, hey, good on you for having a good match?
I mean, I feel like you can criticize him a little bit because it's just like, dude, you gotta give us a little something different. Like, the ending of that match was so overbooked and a mess. It was just everything we've already seen from MJF every time, every match, copy and paste, copy and paste. It's like, you need to give us something new. It's like, to be fair, you kind of, if you criticize his promos, you kind of have to criticize his match formula too, because it's one and the same. It's the low-hanging fruit. It's the easy shit. It's just like, dude, come on. You're a great wrestler, so you really can think outside the box and not have it hurt you, because why not? You're, again, a great wrestler. Like, put some creativity into these matches. I am begging you, because it's nothing we haven't seen already. Like, it's just like the same, like you said, MJF formula match where it's cheat, 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 diamond ring, contract, low blow, it's like, dude, come on. It gets old. So yeah, even though it's great, it's still very unoriginal. So I only gave it 3.5 because it's just like, okay, it was a good match, go figure. The ending was all over the place. And we never even got to talk about too, and we'll just touch on it really quick. I hated the fact that they backed away from giving MJF, like, you had to enact the title. That was so stupid. Because of course we're both a little critical of, I don't know why you're having both, like, the contract holders enact them on the same night. But okay, hey, it makes sense, whatever. And then you literally walk it back, and all you had to do was just threaten one of his friends, or Hangman's friends, and just be like, okay, well, I don't have to do that now, even though I already said I would. It's just like, okay, that was fucking stupid. That was so fucking stupid. And it was so much so that apparently Tony Khan had in his press conference that now you have to have a week's notice before you, like, enact the contract or something. And it's just like, you are literally putting holes into your own, like, plot, and then you're plugging them up with other shit. You're just, like, thinking as you're going at that point, and it is so obvious sometimes. And yeah, I don't get it. I don't really like it. It was so dumb because now you're just guaranteeing MJF might come back and win with this title shot, which is annoying. I don't think we really need it. I don't really want to see it because it is what it is, because it's just, again, going to be copy and paste from everything we've seen before. But yeah, 3.5 flames. Solid match, but nothing we haven't seen before.
Yeah, I also gave it 3.5 flames. Again, I think the thing is, the match wasn't bad. It's just, it really, if you really look at MJF's pay-per-view matches and some of his big TV matches, they all follow the same format. He, like, fakes the knee injury, or the knee injury becomes a factor that he constantly has, and it constantly is getting brought up, although nothing happens beforehand with his knee, but miraculously he has this knee injury that he has to worry about. And then, like, he constantly cheats, which I understand he's a bad guy, but, like, it almost follows the same format down to the timing in the match of when things happen. It's almost down to the same exact timing. So it's just weird. Again, I would love to see a match where MJF maybe wins clean without having to cheat. I know that sounds weird, but just something different. Just something different.
Give us something, please, because I'm being bored.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. But again, congratulations to Hangman Page for retaining the AEW Men's World Championship. I also gave this one 3.5 flames out of 5. And that takes us to the main event and the goddamn car crash that was this 10-man lights out steel cage match What a fucking just
Car
wow.
crash.
Yeah, it was just a car crash. It was just like the good on them for having the wherewithal to say, hey, let's make sure the cage surrounds the ring and not keeps everybody trapped inside of the ring, because
Yeah.
that would have been just a fucking mess. There were bodies everywhere. For me, the
Yeah.
grossest spot of the night was Moxley stabbing away at Darby
Oh,
Allin's ear. Oh,
yeah.
that was just
Uh,
gross. That was
I
just
just,
gross.
yeah. And then you had Gabe and Darby falling off the cage on all those
Yeah,
tables.
that
It's
was
just
nuts.
like,
But that was like in the realm of what Darby Allin usually does, you know? So
yeah, well,
it's like,
yeah.
and
I and poor Osprey, like this dude, some of the shit he was doing, it was almost just like, well, I'm gonna be gone for a while, so you know what? I might as well just make it worse. Because that's
yeah,
pretty much what he was doing. I did love that. My favorite part of that whole match, and it had nothing to really do with the actual wrestling move. It was when Tanahashi tried to climb the ladder, and everyone's like, no, 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 no. No one. They were literally saying what we were thinking. We're like, please don't kill yourself. You have no knees. Like, stop. And so the next the next best hurt person did it instead in Osprey, but it's just like, good God, it was just you almost didn't know where to look, which is what we expected. So it was just it was chaos, it was wild, and what happened afterwards, good Lord, that was I I want to say it was great because it was shocking, kind of, but
hmm
just the way they did it could have been so much better. And I feel like unfortunately we've said that before with AEW where it's like you know what they wanted to do, but the execution of it was just strange. You made the good guys look so dumb where you had the whole Death Riders group climbing the cage to get in to like get at Osprey, and yet you couldn't get any of the good guys to get in there because you had two people with kendo sticks. That was like the one thing keeping you guys away. Like you couldn't have just climbed the cage, or why did it take you how long to open up the cage when they were yelling at you, "Hey, open the cage!" It's like, guys, you looked so dumb doing that. You just pretty much just stood there and watched your friend get beaten to a pulp. So that was kind of silly. And the one thing that I was very confused by was at the end when they were trying to get him on the stretcher. First off, if you have a broken neck, why did they make him sit up? Like I'm not a medical person, but I think I kind of have enough common sense to know that if you supposedly have problems with your neck, the one thing you don't want to do, even if you have a brace on, is sit up. So that was stupid. And then secondly, you have this big ass entrance for Osprey. You have a love letter written by I'm pretty sure fiance. I don't think they're married yet. Alex Windsor, you have that like playing over the entrance. It was fantastic. It was great. You didn't have her show up at the end? Like,
like,
what was
yeah, like have her come out like crying as he's on the stretcher.
like, guys, you were always so close, yet so far away with some of these things. It's just like, because we're sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting, and then immediately it just cuts off, and it's like, okay, like the show's over. It's like, that's it? You didn't, you didn't even have her show up. So the execution of the ending was not great. It wasn't terrible, but it definitely could have been better. But the match itself, Jesus, those multi-man matches are so hard to watch sometimes. Not so much for the gore, because I think with AEW you're kind of used to it. It's just the fact of I don't know who to pay attention to at any given time. It's just all over the place, but it was still fun. I will definitely give it that.
Mhm.
Just for the sheer chaos of it all, I gave it 3 3/4 flames.
3 3/4 flames. That's pretty good. I gave it 3.5 flames. Again, I thought, like you said, the carnage aspect of AEW is at this point kind of predictable.
Yeah,
Especially anytime you include John Moxley in something like this, you know it's just
yeah,
gonna, you know somebody's gonna get hurt, somebody's gonna be gone for a while. In this case, it's gonna be Will Ospreay, who's gonna be
yeah,
gone for a little bit. But you know, like you said, the ending was a little like the ending of the show was a
yeah.
little A little, you're right. But you know what? It did give us a funny moment because I saw clips on Twitter. They had from the audience, they were panned out, and it's Kota Ibushi running head first into the cage, trying to break the cage door open to save Will Ospreay, and he's running. And it was almost like a Looney Tunes segment. He runs into the cage, bangs against the door, and just crumbles and folds like an accordion. I was just like, oh my god, what are we doing here? Oh man. But yeah, if like by AEW standards, this was a very good match. This was a very carnage-filled, chaos, bodies everywhere. You just didn't know where to look. Like everything was happening all at once for like the next 15, 20 minutes, however long this match was. It was just nonstop. Look at this and look at that, and people are getting hurt, and they figured out a way to climb out of the cage and do battle on the outside of the cage. Darby Allin, of course, jumps off of something high, this time with Gabe Kidd on his back, and they go crashing through about 6 different tables. I'm telling you, this was madness. I ended up giving it 3.5 flames out of 5. What about you?
3 3/4 flames. Just for the chaos of it all.
There you go. So again, this was a solid match from AEW in terms of what they usually give us in their chaos matches. This was pretty good stuff from AEW, so I enjoyed this very much. And the ending to write off Ospreay, I mean, hopefully he actually gets this next situation figured out, you know, and he takes some time away. I think he's very stubborn and he doesn't want to take time away, but I think he needs to.
Yeah, especially after the fact that he probably shouldn't have been a Forbidden Door to begin with, so there's that. And then you completely just destroy yourself in that match to begin with then, so it's like, okay, we let you do the fun things, go away for a little bit now, please. But the fact that we're probably losing Ospreay and Swerve all at once is like, god damn, this is gonna fucking hurt. Because we're already losing a lot of people to begin with. Jay White's still out. Kenny, God only knows if he's gonna like be a regular. So it's just like, Jesus, we're losing everybody right now. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah. Wrestling is a tough sport. It's very demanding on the body, but I really want Will Ospreay to get this next situation figured out so it doesn't hamper him any further, because I'm sure what we don't see, what is not in front of the camera, is probably him struggling just to live everyday life.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not fun to pretty much do anything, because if your neck's fucked up, pretty much 90% of your daily functions are fucked up as well.
Dude, like I have a stiff neck, like sleeping wrong, and it's just like it takes out my whole day. So
ruins the entire day.
Yeah, so like I can imagine what Ospreay's going through right now. His is like a stiff neck times 50. It is not a good time to be Will Ospreay right now.
No, not at all.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is us talking about the Forbidden Door pay-per-view that happened this past Sunday. Very good pay-per-view. Well worth the price of the show. Good stuff all around from AEW. I would say keep this pace up. However this pacing went, whoever was in charge of putting this together along with Tony Khan, whoever gave him the ideas to go this route, I think this is your bread and butter. This separates you from WWE because you have longer pay-per-views with more matches on the card. But this, as for me personally, I didn't feel burnt out as a viewer. I wasn't counting down how many matches were left in the card. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else. This is just my opinion, but I thought this was a very well-paced pay-per-view, and they should really keep that up for future pay-per-views.
To be fair, though, I'm pretty sure it was also because of the time difference, too. I think if it would have been 7 o'clock on a Sunday night like it usually is, it would have been a completely different story.
That's true. That's very true. Maybe North America should take an idea and say maybe earlier pay-per-views are the way to go. Let's start a pay-per-view at 3 p.m. instead of 7 p.m. You know, or let's start at 4. Let's start a little early and get done early, and then we might not burn out our audience.
Yeah, that would be nice, because I think that's the AEW's biggest problem, is that if you're going to keep having these 4-hour long shows consistently, don't make it so the main event ends almost at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Like,
I'd
but
say start these shows early. Start the main cards of these shows earlier. You know,
yeah,
start the pre-show at 4, have the main card start at 6, be done by 10:30 at the latest. You know,
yeah,
I think
please
that's solid way to go.
give us, please. It's just like our sleep schedules need it. I'm begging
For
you.
sure, for sure. Speaking of sleep schedules and PLEs and pay-per-views, we got a pay-per-view PLE to do some predictions for this Sunday. WWE is going to give us Clash in Paris, and it's definitely going to be a big one. Remember the French crowd when they were in Lyon for Backlash that one year? They're going to
Yeah,
go crazy for
they're
this
gonna be
pay-per-view. I
nuts.
can't wait. I can't wait to see the French crowd and what they're going to do for this show. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, I'm always excited. I think we just are always excited to see European crowds anyway because they actually know that you have to be excited on a consistent basis for a show. So they always put our crowds to shame, and yet we still have years later have not gotten the memo to, hey, put a little energy into it a little bit. But oh well, it's fun to see us get completely owned when it comes to crowd energy. I'm sorry. It's just it's always it's a whole other animal with them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited to see what they have up their sleeves.
Yeah, so far for this show, there are 5 matches announced according to Wikipedia. We're going to go through each of them and give our predictions. And hopefully, the predictions champion comes back to its rightful owner and we can stop all of this collusion.
Well, there's no rules. We don't have to worry about any rules now. So we'll make sure the title stays with me, but that's fine.
All right, so let's get right into it. First up on the card is a match for the Women's Intercontinental Championship where the champion Becky Lynch will be defending the title against WWE Hall of Famer Nikki Bella. These two have been throwing some shots at each other and their promo battles have been amazing. So I'm actually looking forward to this one. This is a Nikki Bella match that I'm actually looking forward to, which I haven't been able to say in quite some time. So hey, let's go Nikki Bella, Becky Lynch.
Yeah.
Although I think Becky Lynch is going to retain this one, I think Nikki Bella is going to give us a good showing.
I'm hoping because, as we know, I am not the biggest fan of the Bella twins. I don't hate them, but again, that was never my style growing up with women's wrestling. So, yeah, these promo battles though have been wildly wild. So, yeah, they did their job. We're all excited for this match, but I also have to agree, Becky's not losing that title yet. Like,
Nope.
Not to Nikki. Not happening.
So let me write this down so that way there's no issues, no collusion or anything like that. We are both choosing Becky Lynch to defeat Nikki Bella Clash in Paris. Just writing this down. I'm keeping it in my phone so that way we don't lose it. It could stay on digital record.
Yeah, put it on the notes app.
Yep, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, see, I have the same idea.
Becky Lynch. Okay, moving on. This one's going to be good. I'm actually excited for this one because it's a little different. I didn't think we were ever going to see a match like this. It is a straight up singles match. Roman Reigns versus Bronson Reed. And the reason I'm excited about this, who would have thought Bronson Reed would be in this position where he would be in a match, a big time match against Roman Reigns, and he's in a big time feud against Roman Reigns, stealing Roman's shoes, and that being a big focal point of the story.
Literally, just looking at this on paper, if anybody wouldn't know any better, they'd be like, what the fuck match is this? Like, this makes no sense, but when you put it into practice, it works. It really works. And yeah, good on Bronson for getting this opportunity, because it's not every day you get a singles match with Roman Reigns of all people. So you know what? Good for him. The Shula Fallas.
The Shula Falla.
The tribal thief. It's just like, it's been funny. As far as the match goes, though, I feel like, despite everything I just said, you can't really have Roman lose, though, can you? Like,
I don't think so.
it's because I don't feel like you have him lose unless you're about to catapult somebody into superstardom, and I just don't think they're doing that with Bronson yet. I mean, he's definitely elevated his game, and he is a lot higher than what he used to be, but I don't really know what they would do to follow that up. So, because it's not just like any regular opponent that, oh, well, if they lose, it's just whatever, we'll just move on. It's like, it's Roman Reigns. You're not gonna like you kind of can't have like move your way out of that one. So yeah, I'm gonna give this one to Roman,
Yeah, I think.
and he'll get his shoes back.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be the cherry on top. I'm sure the French crowd will lose their mind if, like, at the end of the match with Roman standing tall and Bronson being down, he goes over and grabs his 2 pairs of shoes that he's been missing for so long now. I agree. I mean, common sense would say Roman Reigns is gonna win this match. No slight to Bronson Reed. Yeah, because like this, a loss isn't gonna hurt Bronson Reed. I don't think.
No,
I mean,
I don't think so.
they could go a disqualification route and maybe have Braun Breaker interfere because he's not really on the card, unless they're gonna save him for the Seth Rollins match. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of, this one's kind of easy to say Roman's got the, not really easy. It's not really easy. It's definitely not going to be easy with a guy the size of Bronson Reed. So it's not going to be an easy match for him, but it's kind of easy to say that he's got this one in the bag in terms of actually winning this one. So I too am going to go with you and go with Roman Reigns winning this match.
All
right, so let me
on record.
Yep, putting it on record so that way there's no shenanigans or anything like that.
Yeah, we don't want a repeat of. Well, there's nothing to like forget this time. I think there's no stupid rules that we don't need to be reminded of.
Right.
We'll be fine.
All right, and now moving on, we have a good old-fashioned Donnybrook match, which is basically no rules, no holds barred, no disqualifications, no countouts, nothing like that. It is between Sheamus and Rusev. Now, these matches between Sheamus and Rusev, for me, have been quite enjoyable, seeing them beat the shit out of each other. It's been quite good, and now that you have it where there's no rules to the match, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do and what type of carnage they implore in France. So, who do you have for this one, Sheamus or Rusev?
I feel like you got to give it to Sheamus. Like, you got to cut the dude a break at some point, because I feel like he kind of always gets so close, but is always like so far away when it comes to these feuds. You got to give him something. Like, and in the Donnybrook match, I mean, it'd be a little embarrassing for him of all people to lose that kind of match. Like, this is pretty much him written all over it. So, yeah, I think you got to give it to Sheamus.
Yeah, I think so too. What I would love to see is something like this be a catapult for Sheamus. Maybe he hasn't won the Intercontinental Championship. So if they can move away AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio and then have Dominic Mysterio and Sheamus have a program, I think that would be a lot of fun.
I think so. That would be, could you imagine? You thought Dominic was ducking and dodging Styles. Imagine him ducking and dodging Sheamus.
Yeah, it's just, and the thing is too, I was, in the beginning of Sheamus's career, I was never a big Sheamus guy. I can't tell you exactly when things changed for me, but I'm really enjoying Sheamus's work and him beating up other people. And then these matches with Rusev have been really, really good, and they've been sort of really physical, beat down matches. And then you have no rules in a Donnybrook match. I think this one's going to be very good. This one might surprise a lot of people.
I think so. I think it's going to probably maybe steal the show a little bit. You never know.
You never know. But hopefully, we both have Sheamus winning this one against Rusev in a Donnybrook match. And now moving on, a fatal 4-way match for the World Heavyweight Championship where Seth Rollins will be defending the title against CM Punk, Jey Uso, and LA Knight. This one, I love the story that they're building around it. You know, we have some people that are friends, some people that are just solid co-workers with each other, and now it's all breaking down almost to the benefit of Seth Rollins. If you watched Monday Night Raw this past Monday, you saw that there's a little issue between CM Punk and LA Knight. They can't get along, and Jey Uso heeds the advice of the tribal chief and say, hey, you got to worry about yourself in this one. You got to stop trying to be friends with CM Punk and trying to be friends with LA Knight. You got to worry about yourself, which is exactly what he did at the end of Monday Night Raw, just taking out CM Punk with a straight super kick.
Yeah, this is going to be a wild one, I think. I mean, obviously, we're just going to get out of the way. Rollins isn't losing the title. Like, that's just not going to happen. Um, is Braun Breaker going to interfere on his behalf? Possibly, but I feel like when there's three other people involved, instead of it just being one-on-one, you don't really need to cheat because it might literally happen the way we've talked about before, where one of the other three hits their finisher on somebody and Rollins just tosses them out and just steals it. You don't technically have to cheat to steal a win, so that might be the case. So I'm thinking we might see Braun more in the Roman Bronson match. Not that it's gonna make a difference, I don't think. But yeah, you Rollins isn't losing. Like, that's just not happening.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm picking Seth Rollins as well to win this match. I think this is going to be a very good one. Even though I'm not a big fan of fatal four-way matches, but the people involved
Yeah.
in this match, I think it's going to be very good. I'm excited for this one. I would love for CM Punk to get the championship back, but I'm with you. I don't think they're going to take it off of Seth Rollins anytime soon, and they're really trying to capitalize on this vision stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, and that brings us to the main event of the evening. We have John Cena taking on Logan Paul in a straight up singles match. This one's going to be good, although I feel like a lot of people are hating on this one because we have limited dates left with John Cena and everybody feels like he's wasting it on Logan Paul. I think this is going to be a good match, though. I think this is not one to be slept on. I think Logan Paul, as much as we hate to talk about him, he's a phenomenal professional wrestler, and John Cena works really good with phenomenal professional wrestlers. He always has great showings with other performers, that are great. So I think this one's going to be very good.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, obviously, we've made it very obvious that we don't really like Logan Paul as a human because he's a shit human being, but he is a good wrestler. You can't really fault him on that one. But yeah, I've liked the way that Cena's kind of eviscerated him on the mic, because pretty much called him a roach, and it's just like, you know what? Very accurate. We would agree with that one, despite that one little backstage segment that was a reshot or re-edited, and it still didn't work because it still looked like crap because Logan couldn't hit him. But that aside, though, it should still be a pretty good match. It's also obvious. It's like Cena's not losing. You're not going to have him lose to, of all people, Logan Paul on his farewell tour. It's just it's not going to happen. I still feel like it'll be a fun match, though. But yeah, you got to give it to Cena.
Yeah, I'm thinking Cena as well. But again, I feel like Logan Paul is still going to have a good showing, despite the hatred for Logan Paul. I don't really think it's just all the things that he's done. And then his I don't know if it's a persona that he puts on just for the internet or anything. It's just, you just see him and he's got a great face that you want to punch,
Yeah, very unlikable face.
Very unlikable face. I think John Cena is going to get the win over this one. This means that for Clash in Paris, all our predictions are tied.
Again,
like usual. So it's time to figure out how are we going to break up this tie and who is going to come home with the title, even though I think it's going to be me.
I don't think it's going to be me, but that's fine.
I want to hear what your breaker is going to be first.
I feel like I'm going to stay away from the Donnybrook match because I feel like that's just going to be, there's just so much that you can't guarantee is not going to happen or could happen, that's just a mess. I'll go with the Women's Intercontinental Championship match, and I'll just flat out say, in whatever way, shape, or form, Becky is going to cheat to beat Nikki Bella and retain the title.
Becky is going to cheat. Wow, okay. Now, you're saying she's going to cheat to win? Or she's just going to cheat?
Yeah.
Cheat to win?
I feel like if you're going to cheat, you're going to cheat, which is going to result in you winning anyway. But yeah, I feel like she's going to do something.
I'm just trying to make sure we get. So you're saying she's going to do something nefarious and then pick up the 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, she's
Okay.
going to cheat to retain the title.
Gotcha. All right. Just want to make sure for clarification purposes, because she could always
Now
cheat.
you thought I was gonna say like she's gonna poke her in the eye and that's what
Yeah,
counts. Like
yeah,
no, I'm not gonna do that.
something like that. Something
Now
like
I
that.
have honor. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. All right. So your tiebreaker prediction is that Becky Lynch is going to cheat to win her match against Nikki Bella. That's a solid one. I like that one. I am going for the main event. I'm going John Cena, Logan Paul. I think Logan Paul is going to put John Cena through that announce table like he's been putting other people through the announce table. I think he's going to jump off the corner turnbuckle and put John Cena through the table.
Okay, now all right, so he has to physically put him through the table. He's not gonna like Cena's gonna get out of the way and he misses. That's not gonna count, right?
See, now you got my brain
Because that's
thinking.
not technically but that's true. But think about it. That's not technically putting Cena through the table. He's putting himself through the table.
Right.
So Cena has to physically go through the table because of Logan Paul.
Right. Okay. Yeah. We'll go with
Has
that.
a dive off the turnbuckle, break the table with Cena on it.
Yep. With Cena on it. Yep. Logan Paul
all right,
puts Cena through a table.
Jumping off the turnbuckle, right?
Yep.
Gonna do that dive thing. All right.
That's my
prediction. All right, guys, we have it.
It's on tape. It's on tape. It's recorded. It's being put out there for the masses to hear. So no more collusion.
And Mike will check us if something goes wrong.
I'm telling you,
he will do that.
Yeah, Mike would, but I'm tired of this collusion. I'm telling you, after Forbidden Door, that title should have been mine.
No, it's just us being stupid and forgetting the very niche rules that maybe they did mention it, we just didn't pay attention, which could have also been a thing.
Maybe. But
still,
ladies and gentlemen,
we're not going to make sure that's not going to happen this time.
Yeah, we clarified exactly everything we needed to clarify to make sure that the rules are adhered to.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Clash in Paris happens this Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just so you know, I'll be doing a live watch along on Twitch where I do live watch alongs for Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, AEW Dynamite, and AEW Collision. I do them on Twitch, twitch.tv/ringside rundown. We'll be doing a watch along for Clash in Paris. So come hang out and come join me in chat and we can talk about the show as the show is happening. So it's a lot of fun. This is also the last PLE that is going to be on Peacock before they move over to the ESPN app.
Which I find it because wasn't that supposed to be 2026? Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, no, just kidding, guys. You have to prepare months earlier.
Yeah,
no big deal. Sorry about that.
It's happening now. The first pay-per-view or PLE that's going to be on the ESPN app is going to be WrestlePalooza, which is on September 20th. Coincidentally, the same time as AEW All Out. So not only did they counter program Forbidden Door with Heat Wave, but they're going to counter program directly with a WWE PLE. This one's going to be tough. I'm sorry. I'm like 95% in on the WrestlePalooza only because I don't have to pay for anything. I already have ESPN in my cable package. So I get the app. Yeah, we get the app, not having to pay for anything extra. It's kind of cost effective, over a $50 pay-per-view. I'm sorry, Tony Khan.
It's killing us with those, but yeah, it's fine. It's just, again, I wish they were a little more, I don't know. I just feel bad for the people that are going to have to scramble now because we thought this wasn't going to happen until 2026. And now all of a sudden, oh, no, just kidding. It's literally a month after we announce it. It's like, really, guys? Does the money never end with you? And clearly the answer is no.
Nope. Never, ever, ever. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is Clash in Paris happening this Sunday. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, because now we're at the end of the podcast. Want to say thank you for listening to this podcast and hanging out with us and checking out what we have going on over here at the Ringside Rundown podcast. And we have predictions for you for Clash in Paris. And also we talked about Forbidden Door. So I think this was a great episode.
Yeah, I think so. We got everything figured out. There's going to be no issues like last predictions. And it's going to be great.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Just to let you know, this podcast is available on all platforms where podcasts are happening, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts. All you got to do is search Ringside Rundown, hit the follow or subscribe button, and you'll never miss an episode of the Ringside Rundown. We pop out an episode every Wednesday morning they come out, so make sure you check them out. Again, Spotify, Apple, Google. Well, Google doesn't do podcasts anymore. Amazon Music, Audible, basically wherever you listen to podcasts, and YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/@ringside-run-pod, you can get all episodes of the Ringside Rundown podcast on YouTube if you don't have a platform of choice. Or if you have a platform and you can't find it on your platform of choice, just hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook @Ringside Rundown, and we will get you a link to the podcast on your platform on a silver platter. But the caveat is that you have to give us back the silver platter because it belongs to Shay's mom, and she's a Navy SEAL, and she knows about 10 different ways to disarm you with her pinky. So you want to stay away from that. She is a dangerous lady. So make sure you give us back the silver platter when you're done with it. Like I said, we're available on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook @Ringside Rundown. And like I said, we do watch alongs, twitch.tv/Ringside Rundown. So come hang out with me anytime there's WWE or AEW programming. Shay, where can they get in touch with you?
You can find me on Twitter, on my wrestling Twitter, @ShayRingside_, just like Eric's, just with my name.
There you go. Go give her a follow. She's a great follow. A lot of wrestling wisdom coming from Shay. We've been doing this since 2021. I feel like the wrestling wisdom comes easy now for you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so. I have my moments, so I can't complain, but yeah, sure, why not?
There you have it. So next week, we're going to be giving our rundown of Clash in Paris, giving our thoughts and our match ratings for Clash in Paris, and anything else that is happening throughout the wrestling week. We'll talk about it on the show. So thank you guys for listening so much. For Shay Hickson, my name is Erik Vasquez, and we'll talk to you next week, guys. Take care.
See you later, guys.